Each season, Guys Telling Stories seeks out fascinating people with a good story to tell. I'm Rich Douglas, and this man beside me is my co-host, Bill Easton. We're a couple of guys who love a good story. And our quest today takes us to Canada. This is Guys Telling Stories.
All right, here we go.
I'm excited about our guest today, Manjit Minhas.
She's an entrepreneur.
A mother.
Mm-hmm.
She is on the TV show Dragon's Den, and in every country besides America, that's what the show is called. In America, it's called Shark Tank.
I'm going to ask her why.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And she, along with her brother, is owners of one of the largest breweries in the world. I know, I can't wait to talk to her.
We talk to a lot of people that like beer.
Well, that's because we like beer.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Let's get to Try at Home.
Our Guys Telling Stories website is powered by Bandzoogle.
Bandzoogle.
With Bandzoogle, you can easily create a stunning website because they have everything you need, including the templates. So you just go and you select whichever one, whatever colors, whatever ones fit whatever business you're doing.
It's great.
It also has a zero commission online store. So if you want to sell your merchandise, they don't keep any of it. It all goes to you.
And they also have forums, too. So if you wanted to kind of get your fans and listeners or guests interacting with people, you can do that, too.
Well, give it a shot. Right now, you can get your new website for free for the first 60 days. All you got to do, go to guystellingstories.com, click the Try at Home. That's our website, guystellingstories.com, and click Try at Home. And free website, 60 days. Give it a shot. Bandzoogle.
I love it. But you know what I hate, Bill?
What do you hate, Rich?
I hate it when you can't find your stuff.
Oh.
Keys, wallet, cell phone. Well, our friends at Tile have the solution. Tile is a tiny little square that attaches to anything you don't want to lose. This Bluetooth tracker rings really loud if you misplace something, and the easy-to-use Tile app tracks where you had it last. So if you left something somewhere, the app will tell you where to look.
That's pretty cool.
I know. I got a feeling you're going to buy like 5 of them. And this is new for Bill, and our listeners get up to 35% off your Tile purchase by going to guystellingstories.com and clicking on Try at Home.
So we got two good things there.
Two good things. It's guystellingstories.com. Click on Try at Home to get 35% off your Tile purchase.
So we're going to Canada.
We're going to Calgary, Alberta.
Canada.
All the way on the other side of the coast for us, and we're talking to an amazing guest. You guys are going to love her. This is really exciting, Bill.
I'm excited.
Yeah. You know, she has stories from being one of the most successful breweries in the past decade, and her, along with her brother, basically started from nothing and are these entrepreneurs, and herself, you can see her on TV every single week.
Yep.
She's a venture capitalist, and I just can't wait to hear, how she went from growing up in Canada to being on TV every single day.
That's awesome.
All right, so let's give Manjit a call. All right, Manjit, welcome to Guys Telling Stories.
Thank you.
Awesome. We're pretty excited to talk to you today. Bill and I here, we are recording from Buffalo, New York. Where are you right now?
I am in Calgary today.
Oh, yeah?
Alberta.
Yeah, awesome.
Yes.
Bill, have you ever been?
On the we did a road rally and it went through to Jasper. It ended in Jasper, Alberta, which is not too far from Calgary.
That's just up the road from us. Yeah, You're right.
Well, there you go.
In the Rockies. Yeah.
To
the Rocky Mountains. Yeah.
Well, Manjit, people are going to know you from being on Dragon's Den and from being known as the Beer Baroness. But, what's going on in your world right now? Can you tell us a little story about, something that happened this morning or something funny that happened yesterday?
Yeah, I actually just got back from Toronto yesterday, filming season 12 of Dragon's Den, and my third season. I've been on the show. So I've been in Toronto for the last month. It's where we shoot the show. So, yeah, it's been a fun and exciting but intense month, and now kind of trying to get back into the swing of my real world, which isn't show business.
Yes. Why is it Dragon's Den everywhere else, and in America it's Shark Tank?
Well, they have the right to call it whatever they like, and, I guess the Americans just wanted to be different.
I guess so.
Exactly.
Typical Americans.
The format is bought and from Sony by all of the networks that air the different versions from the UK to Japan to Canada, the United States, and many, many other countries. So the format is the same. It's just the name is different, and the dragons or sharks are different. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you said, you just got back and you're getting back into real life, but if you kind of reflect back on the past week or so, what is the recording like kind of compared to what people see on TV?
Well, it's fairly intense for us and quite focused, which is nice. But we see 200 pitches in a matter of just under 4 weeks, and we see about 11 to 13 per day, each from 45 to 60 minutes, because we know nothing about them before they enter the den. And it's the same in Shark Tank, and so it is a steep learning curve when they walk in to understand the product, understand the industry, understand what they're going for, and do a lot of math while we're sitting there. That's what we're writing away like crazy, and then to make a decision. So. It is 12 hours of filming a day. It's 10 hours of filming actually, and then like 2 hours of hair and makeup and eating and 5-minute breaks. So it's when they got us, they really do work us, but it's great, and it's nice that we're able to do it in such a short amount of time, and then they edit it in the summer and it goes to air in the fall.
Oh, that's great. I can't wait to dig a little bit deeper into that. But before we get too far into the interview, can you just tell people where they can, learn a little bit more about you online, maybe your social media or your website?
Yeah, my Twitter handle is Manjit Minhas, all one word. Instagram is manjit.minhas. And my website is www.minhas, M-I-N-H-A-S, brewery.com. And it'll connect you to our distillery and winery pages, too. We have breweries in the United States and in Canada, in Wisconsin and in Western Canada.
We always like to start with talking about family. And I know your parents got started a little bit later in life in the liquor industry up in Canada. But if you could kind of talk a little bit about growing up, what type of family raised someone who, along with her brother, is one of the number one breweries around and, is on TV.
So I'm born and raised in Calgary, Alberta. My dad came from India when he was 21. My mom is from Vancouver Island in British Columbia, and they got married in 1976. And I was born 4 years later, and my dad had an engineering degree from India. It was not recognized, though, when he came to Canada. And so he had to redo it. And therefore, he ended up moving to Calgary because they're the ones, the University of Calgary gave him the most amount of credit for what he had already done. And so then my dad did an engineering degree and started working in the oil patch, Calgary and Alberta. In that case, is oil country for sure. So he worked there very successfully and did well for 15 years. And then there was a downturn in the oil patch, as there is now, in the early 90s, and he got laid off. And about 6 weeks after he got laid off, he was told by some of his friends that the government was going to deregulate the sale of alcohol in our province. So up until that point, and actually every other province in this country is the same, is the alcohol is sold at government-run liquor stores. So no private citizens and grocery chains, etc., own them. And so our premier at the time decided that he was going to be revolutionary, and he changed that. And so citizens then could open up stores, grocery chains, anybody, and the government was going to be out of the selling and retailing of booze. And so he quickly opened up 3 liquor stores, and they became the top 3 stores in Alberta for retail and for wholesale, meaning to bars and restaurants. And so I was very young. I was 13 at the time when he opened them. And my brother and I, well, just as any other family business, that's what it really was to us. So weekends, evenings, Christmases, summer holidays, whenever we weren't in school, we were working at my parents' stores. We were free labor. And so when I graduated high school and was in university, I also did engineering. After my first year, I decided to take the summer off and not take courses. I couldn't find a job though, because, well, I discovered afterwards no oil and gas firm wants to hire a first-year engineering student because you really know nothing yet. So I ended up going to my parents' store again. And during that time, I was taking orders for restaurants and bars, and I discovered that there was a market for the taking, which was a private label spirits brand for their liquor stores, high quality but low everyday price. Because everybody who would call would be like, what is the cheapest vodka or the cheapest rum in the store today? I'll take that. So there was no consistency of quality or brand loyalty. So that was a good thing for me in the fact that if they weren't buying for the brand, I could, make some inroads. And so I talked to my parents about it, and they said, great. But my dad said, listen, you need to come to me with a business plan just as every other sales rep does. And I said, okay. And so I started the process of coming up with a business plan and starting a business. And
perfect.
My brother and I, we decided on a line of spirits: rum, rye, vodka, gin, tequila, and Irish cream, the top-selling products. And we really hit it out of the ballpark with our tequila, our Alamo tequila, and our Blarney's and St. Patrick's Irish cream. They were great price, but also great tasting products. And very quickly, we got interest from other liquor stores that were not owned by my parents but wanted to carry the brand. And so then that's when we had a decision to make to expand into the general marketplace or be a private label company. And, well, we took the leap, and we were young and naive and thought that we could do it all. And it was hard because we were both still in school, both in university. He also did engineering. But we did it. And then we never really looked back. And we grew into beer, which is what we're famous for now, and been very successful in, and do a lot of our own brands, but also a lot of private label.
Well, let me ask you, Dad, coming from the oil patch, kind of held you to a higher standard, I'm guessing, in the sense like he asked you for a business plan, but did he have any business, education or experience?
He had taken 1 year of an MBA, but no, he didn't. But he worked for one of the largest oil companies in Calgary, and he felt that, I asked him later, of course, well, that was a lot of work you put me through, because I knew I had never taken a business course. I knew nothing. And he said, well, I figured if it didn't work, at least you would have learned something out of the experience.
That's
and
true.
I said, oh, okay, I get that.
Well, yeah. And you probably are Googling how to write a business plan. With no courses.
Well, yeah, actually, funny enough, we didn't have internet at home back then. So I would go to the library and get books and sit there and print it out, and then come back and kind of try to replicate it.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, I always joke with kids, they have it so much easier than I did when I started, for sure, 20 years ago. Everything's at your fingertips now, as far as how to and where to. But yeah, it absolutely was something that taught me is the basis of my whole life, which is working hard and not taking anything for granted and not leaving one stone unturned. And it was, and I saw my parents do that, come to this country. My dad came with $4 in his pocket and made a fabulous life for not only himself, but his family. And so my brother and I, we're only two siblings, but he had no family to rely on, and no friends. Even he knew nobody when he was here. So it was it's one of the things I really do consider myself blessed to have grown up in such a fabulous country where opportunity is at your fingertips. It's just a matter of taking hold of it.
That's amazing. Rich, remember going up to Canada? We're very close to the border here, by the way, in Buffalo.
Right, yeah, you are.
You remember going up to Canada and going to the beer store?
Yeah.
And you would walk in and they'd have bottles up on the wall, and you could order whatever the bottles were, and then you would sit there and wait. And then all of a sudden...
It's so preposterous in Ontario, yes.
Yeah,
Ontario
and all of a sudden
about
a case...
10 decades behind.
Yeah.
A case would fly
the rest
out the
of
window.
the world. Yeah.
And you would cheer when it was, because we'd always load. You can only bring a case over the border per
that what
person.
it was? Yeah.
So we'd throw like 5 people in the car. Let's go get some beer. And then when your beer came through the window, it came on these rollers, and came through this like luggage compartment, and you would just let out a big chair.
And at the time, this is going years back, it was so expensive.
Oh yeah, it was like $30 a case.
And I'm like, what is going on?
And I was 18, 19 years old.
Well, the alcohol taxes in this country are really big, and so after we started finding some success, we started expanding to other provinces in Western Canada. Mm-hmm. But we were producing all of our product in the United States because nobody in Canada would co-pack, never mind our spirits, but even our beer for us. At that time, there was only 2 big breweries in Canada, Molson's and Labatt's, and they wouldn't talk to us. So, so everything was coming up, and thanks to NAFTA, we were able to ship it via rail over the border and bring it to Canada, and then subsequently, BC, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. But then we started seeing opportunities in the United States, and that's really where our market has grown over the last 10 years. We are the 9th largest brewery in the world, and a lot of our volume is done in the United States. Because, like I said, we do our own brands like Boxer and Minhas, but we do a lot of private labels, such as we do all of Costco's Kirkland beer around the world. Wow. We do Trader Joe's, all of their craft beers and all of their session beers. And we do also all of their rum, and so we do a lot for other chains too. Walgreens, a lot of big other grocery chains too. So when people always say to me, "I've never heard of you," and I'm like, "Well, you know what? The funny part is, I guarantee if you drink beer, you've had my beer. You just don't know you had it."
We've had the Trader Joe's beer.
That's the thing is we have one Trader Joe's in town, and Bill has brought me a couple of those. I want to say one had like peanut butter in it or something. Do you remember that?
There was a chocolate stout that came out around Christmas.
And people go crazy for Trader Joe's around here. It's just they think they love it, and it's so cool to hear that you're actually making it for not just Trader Joe's, Walgreens, and all these other companies. So that's incredible.
And it's really great for us because it helps us with our economies of scale and our overall volume, which makes us buy better and build our own brand in the end of the day. So it's absolutely been a great opportunity for us to discover the new segment of the business.
Well, a few short years after you guys get started, you're finding that you can kind of make these gains and make these advances. So can you tell us that story about finally making the purchase of the brewery in Wisconsin? Because that had to be huge for you guys.
Yes, it really was. So we were at the point where we were 95% of the production out of the Joseph Huber Brewery in Wisconsin. And the owners did not want to sell. It wasn't a prime business, though. And so we then, we really wanted to own the brewery because we wanted to do some other products, and there was some other investments we wanted to make, and efficiencies and capital. But we didn't want to do it, with them owning it. And then therefore, well, in the end of the day, the best negotiation tactic, I guess, is to pin somebody against the corner. And so we did, and they were very gracious, and they decided to sell. And so, it was a big moment for us in 2006, 10 years ago, when my brother and I were able to buy that brewery out with cash and rename it the Minhas Brewery. And then really we like to say our empire started from there. Because then we started our own distilleries and our own wineries subsequently 2 years ago too, in Sonoma and in Chile. And so it absolutely did teach us a lot about the manufacturing business now that we were in control of it, and give us the flexibility to do others' products, and even other breweries, such as, for example, in New Orleans, when Katrina hit, Dixie Brewing Company, which was very big in that area, was flooded and essentially out of business. However, they still had such demand, and all their copper wire and lots of things were gutted and looted from their brewery. And so we made their brew for them for quite a long time until they could get up and running again. And so it's so nice for us to be able to help others in our own industry too, to create a really powerful partnership with other craft brewers that we have a common goal to achieve. Now, sure, we don't talk to the Anheuser-Busch and the Millers of the world. We don't believe that they're in our court. You know that they. I don't know what they think. We don't call it beer, but yeah.
Well, it's business. It's business, and it's beer, and it sounds like you have a firm handle of how the business thing works. With by your words, putting them in a corner, which I'm sure meant, well, we're not going to keep brewing here if you don't do this.
Yeah.
But one of the other things that you mentioned is we've talked to a lot of beer people, and in the past it seems like we have one or two every season, and their ability and their desire to help other breweries in times of need or in times of just for the sake of doing it, and it's the type of business where that happens a lot, and it's probably because of those Anheuser-Busch and Molson and Labatt's. It's kind of like all the other people in the world trying to help each other out just because.
True.
Why not?
Against a common behemoth.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, you have some of the fastest success, too, in terms of growth of a brewery. A lot of the stories that we hear are maybe a husband-wife couple, and it might take them 10 years to finally increase production and double or triple production.
So we have a couple theories. One, we are very tough negotiators, but we also believe in rejigging things. So, for example, in efficiency, that's the engineer in both my brother and I talking. And so we produce 800 cans a minute, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at all of our breweries. And it is because of that we can keep costs down and we can keep people working and compete in the marketplace. And we do that with not only fast machines, but we also have created machines. So we have bought old robots, for example, from Chrysler plants around the country that have gone belly up, and we have rejigged them in order to fill our cases so that people don't have to do it by hand because it was getting very hard and it was slower and it was causing a lot of injuries, and tendinitis and doing the same thing repetitively. And so we really do believe in technology and AI and using it to better not only the company, but also the product in the end of the day. So I do believe that there's so much room always for improvement, and it's just a matter of kind of opening yourself up to it. Because, none of these machines and none of these different types of manufacturing plants are cheap. And so in order to pay for it as soon as you can, it does take some creativity.
Manjit, moving forward, we always ask about a struggle, and you guys have had success. You're innovators in the business. You basically for the past 10 years have been growing. But can you think back to a personal or even a professional obstacle that you had to overcome?
Oh, we've had to overcome lots. We've had, for every beer brand that comes out that's successful, there's 10 that have failed along the way. We've just been lucky that the successes have defined us and not the failures. But, from day one, I was a young brown woman in the male-dominated conglomerate beer industry trying to make my mark. Like, it was an uphill climb both ways. It was so impossible to remember.
You're supposed to say hot tan girl.
Oh, yeah. Hot tan girl sounds a lot. But you're right. I know what you mean. I like Bill's description, but I don't think your website.
A young brown girl. Never mind that I was in my early 20s, but, I was a minority, and I am a minority. And so there was a lot of things that were going against us. And so we have dealt with so many things in the last decade and a half. That has been really trying, not only personally, but within our business. And I think the most heartbreaking, the most toughest for me personally was when I tried to get into Ontario about 11 years ago when we were seeing success in the rest of the country. And we really got lobbied effectively out of there by our competitors. They got the government and the beer stores and the LCBO to really throw us in for a loop. We spent a lot of money, a lot of time. We were 3 days out from being on shelves, and they decided to do a full complete investigation on my brother and I for having mafia ties.
Oh,
Just
my
out of the
goodness.
blue, nothing to do with anything. We had spent about half of the assets, not only in our bank account, but that we owned everywhere to get into Ontario, such a big province, such a hard province to break. So it was pretty devastating, and they were successful. We did not get our product released. All of it had to be destroyed, and all of that marketing and time was wasted. It was a full year of my life, and so it was very, very trying time. However, upon reflection, it did really make me stronger. It was one of those things that I'm going to show you, and I'm going to show you how it's done. I don't give up that easily. And so, we regrouped, and I found lots of successes elsewhere, but it was something that I still really was committed to doing, selling beer in Ontario. And so we came back with some new tactics and some new plans, and were tougher, and it worked out second time around. And Boxer beers and many of our spirits are doing very well in Ontario. But it is for sure a very sore spot. And, I really do believe that as a company and as a person and as team members, failure and hardships do make you stronger, and as long as you can learn from them. And it doesn't mean that it's easy, but yeah, there have been so many tough roads that we have had, and I am really grateful that you guys asked that, because I do believe that too many entrepreneurs talk about their successes and not all the craziness that goes on to find the success. I tell everybody, my overnight success has been 17 long, hard years. And so it's day in and day out. My success was not handed to me. It was not handed to me on a silver platter. Neither was my businesses. And so it's, and for most entrepreneurs, that is the case. And so I really do believe that it's great for everybody to actually tell their real story, not just what they've been successful and at, but everything that came along the way and how the journey really is. And I think social media is interesting for that too in this day and age, and that you only see the fun things. You only see the parties that I go to, and you only see the fun things that I'm doing. You don't see me sitting behind a desk for the other 11 hours out of the day. You only see the 3 hours that I'm at the event. So sure, that's part of my life, but it's absolutely not all my life. And that's, and so I think sometimes that can be a little deceiving for up and coming entrepreneurs.
Rich and I both enjoy beers once in a while.
Yeah.
We may or may not be having one now. But we also know that the political arena that is our state and other things. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, did you find your first failure with the Ontario province? Did you find that the beer drinkers in Ontario were coming to battle for you from that point of view because they wanted your product? Did that help you at all?
They didn't even know what was going on, because we didn't tell the media. We had to blame it on ourselves, because I knew someday I would have to go back and deal with those same people in government and at the retail level. So if I, badmouth them too much, I had some foresight.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned social media sometimes.
No, they did not know the world did not know what went on.
Gotcha.
So obviously does, but really by then it was not here nor there.
Well, you mentioned how you only see the parties sometimes, and I couldn't agree more. I was watching an interview with a actor, and she was saying how, she made a joke, oh, that's off-brand, and I think she was at Obama's, last party at the White House, and she was dancing till 3 a.m, but, her brand is mother, actor, and, spokesperson for some makeup company. So I appreciate the real side of things. And, on your website, I mentioned it earlier, the first, tag you have is mother. So moving into that phase in your life, can you talk a little bit maybe about the adjustments? I don't want to call them struggles, but the adjustments or transitions into being, a successful business owner and a mother.
Right. Yeah. So I have 2 young girls, 4 and 7. And absolutely, I didn't realize until I had 1, never mind 2, how much of a village it takes to raise a family, and that work-life balance is total bullshit. Because because it's just not possible. I can't duplicate myself. And so, I very early on discovered I need help, and I'm shy to ask for it. And so I'm blessed to have a great family, my parents, my in-laws, sister-in-laws, and then paid help. So it's a combination of it all. And so, and I don't feel guilty about having it all. And so, as far as the help goes, because I can't do it all. I don't cook, and if I did, it would be toast. And so, but that's okay. I have others to do it, and it's okay for my kids to know that too. And so, I really did have to resign early on to the fact that, listen, I can't be everywhere, and I can't feel guilty for not being everywhere. But wherever I am, I have to be 110% present. Mm-hmm. And so whether I'm at my kids' school plays or recitals or just playing in the park, I am there. I'm not on the phone. I am not mentally somewhere else. And if I'm in the office, I'm in the meeting, I am working, I am not thinking about the play or the gymnastics or the birthday party that I missed. And so, they're aware of where I am. I take them when I can for them to know that I don't just disappear into oblivion. And so it is a team effort, and I have an amazing husband who understands that too. And so, it's not easy by any means. But I think that as long as you've resigned to the fact that you can't do it all and you shouldn't have to, it's okay to ask for help. Mm-hmm. It works out. And so, absolutely my kids are my first priority. But me being happy makes them happy and makes me a better mom. And I realize that too. And what makes me happy is working and the challenges that I face in the office every day. So it is twofold for sure.
Yeah. And when they're drinking age, they'll appreciate it all anyway.
When they're finally old enough, yeah. Well, you are resoundingly, you're speaking some of the same advice we've been hearing this entire season, Bill.
Oh, yeah.
I think I personally struggle with being that mindful person when I'm doing those other things. I like how you said if you're watching the kids play, you're not on the phone. If you're at work, you're 100% at work, because it seems like the most successful people are doing that. So it's not lip service, it's real advice. And if it's something I have to work on or others do too, it's time to start working on it.
I was trying to multitask earlier and put my headphones down as I was picking a beer up, and I dropped the mic.
Stop multitasking, Bill. You gotta stay focused. He did knock his mic
That's
over.
actually a true story. Well, where do you see yourself in, let's say, 5 years from now? Like what?
Oh my goodness, that's the toughest question ever. That is the toughest question, because you know what? I for sure I have goals for my personal self and for our companies, but I find that I can never predict or even dream of predicting what is going to go on. If you would have asked me 5 years ago, I wouldn't say that I'd be, on your TV screen every Wednesday night.
Your life moves fast.
The truth, the way it is, and getting people riled up, and because I am the tough dragon for sure. And so, I think that it's a matter of just taking every day by day. And I don't know what's in my future, or never mind tomorrow, but in 5 years. So I know that's not much of an answer, but like I said, we're the ninth largest. We're the ninth largest brewery. There is 9 more spots to go.
There you go.
8 more spots to go. Sorry. Yeah. So I hope the next time I talk to you, we're at least one up. It took us 3-4 years to go from 10 to 9. So I'm hoping the next 8 are a little faster of a climb. But hey, yeah.
All right, I have a beer question for you then. How come Americans on this side of the border want to drink Labatt's, and Canadians on that side of the border want to drink Coors Light?
Huh.
You know what?
This is like hockey. This is hockey fans.
It's just one of those things that you want what you don't got, right? And so, it came from far, whether it be a couple hundred kilometers or miles away or not. So, it's also, that's how brands are built. And so, why does somebody want to hold one beer over another in their hand? Trust me, a lot of the times it's not because they can taste the difference or there is a superior quality difference. It's about brand building, and that's exactly what a lot of beer companies are trying to do every day, is build a brand. And so that's a tough one. There's no rhyme and reason.
It's funny here. We're in such a big hockey market and so close to Toronto that we see all the Canadians come over, and times I've gone over there, and it's ironic how that works out. But
well, moving ahead and kind of winding this thing down, we'd like to ask for some advice. If there was anyone just starting out with their first business, I'm sure you get this question all the time. They're not ready to pitch on Dragon's Den. They're just maybe forming that business plan. Is there any advice you'd give to somebody just starting out?
Yes, absolutely. It would be find your passion and make sure you love what you do, because success does not come overnight. It is a hard, long road. And in order to do something 10, 16 hours a day, you better love it. And so I really do believe in don't getting into something just because you believe that there's money to be made. You should really have a passion for it. And that's how you will grow and your company will grow. And eventually, I promise you, find success. But I think too many people just want to be rich, and that doesn't mean anything. And so success is defined as a lot of different ways. Being happy, providing for others. And sure, having some money in the bank is not bad either, but it shouldn't be the only and the prime reason why you become an entrepreneur.
Yeah, great advice. Yeah, the people we have been speaking to, and yourself included this season, have said resoundingly, you have to find that passion, but also be happy with the successes you're having. If you are one day retired and you are a grandma or grandpa, you got to be happy with that just as much as you are running that company, 20 years ago.
Agreed, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, maybe if we could close this thing out, you could remind our listeners where they can find you online and check out your social media.
Absolutely. They can check me out on Twitter at Manjit Minhas, one word, or Instagram Manjit.Minhas, or our website, minhasbrewery.com, or my own personal website, manjitminhas.com.
And we have a lot of Canadian listeners, which is kind of nice, probably being close to the border. Is there any way, though, our American viewers could see the show? Is it on YouTube? How do we see it? I mean,
yeah, they can find it on YouTube.
Okay.
Technically, unfortunately, it is geo-blocked by CBC. So if you went to cbc.ca, it is geo-blocked for Americans, unfortunately.
They do that for Hockey Night
I know
in
there's a
Canada,
lot
too.
of versions of it on YouTube.
Well, there you go.
Okay, good. So there you go.
Yeah, and I'm on seasons 10 and 11. We just finished filming season 12, so that'll be out this fall.
Awesome. You want to drop a little hint to how season 12 went?
No, without getting in trouble. No,
we don't want you to get in trouble. We don't want you to get in trouble.
All right. Well, this has been incredible. Thanks.
Sounds good.
Thanks so much for sharing your
Have a great
stories.
day, guys.
You too.
You too.
You too. Bye-bye.
Manjit Minhas, Bill.
No, she's pretty incredible.
Yeah, she has had some successes and failures, obstacles to overcome earlier in life, and she has done it, and it just seems like, she's on this path right now where I got a feeling we're going to hear a lot more from her pretty soon.
Yeah. If I was on TV, they wouldn't be asking me for advice or to buy anything. They'd be asking me, why'd you do it? Thanks to our website provider, Bandzoogle, B-A-N-D, Zoogle. Bandzoogle has everything you need to build your website, including the templates. So you just go and browse through the templates, pick the one that's best for you. And the best part, go to our website, guystellingstories.com, click on Try at Home. Your new website's first 60 days are free.
Yeah, and thanks again to our friends at Tile. Tile's the world's best-selling Bluetooth tracker that attaches to anything you don't want to lose, so you can find it fast. Remember, you get 35% off your Tile purchase by going to guystellingstories.com and clicking on Try at Home. That's guystellingstories.com and click on Try at Home to get 35% off your Tile purchase.
Is it bad that I looked into that during the interview?
No.
You said it earlier, and I was like, wait a minute. I lose stuff all the time. I went to play hockey a couple months ago with one skate. One skate.
Yeah. You'll be the only guy with two tiles attached to each
I got
skate.
invited to a nice Sabres alumni skate, and I showed up there and started getting dressed, and I had one skate. So I know where I'm putting my first one.
Well, some of these products are ones that we think we should share with you and we love using, and this is one of them. So, check it out.
I will in like 2 minutes. Can we go now?
Well, guys, you know what? We had a fantastic guest today. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, this has been a great season. Show some love to Manjit and check out her website and her social media as well. And we can't wait to talk to you guys again soon.
American listeners, look her up on YouTube. It's a great show.
Awesome show. Oh, yeah. Great clips. All right. As always, I'm Rich Douglas.
I'm Bill Easton.
Until next time.